Hi guys, today we're going to look at removing the card holder or the coin tray from the Audi A4, S4 and RS4 B6 and B7 models. They all have the same kind of card holding tray like so. Relatively easy to get out, so I'll show you how to do it right now. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is just remove your dash end panel here. That'll give you access to the bolts on the side here. These are very easy to remove. There's a little notch cut into the bottom. Just come up under the notch with a screwdriver or a trim tool, pop it off, and the whole thing will come off like so. Once that's done, it's going to give you access to the first of the bolts that we need to remove. This one right here. All of the fixings on this are size 8, so just undo that with your size 8 socket, like so, and move on to the next. Okay, the next fixing we need to remove is actually down underneath, just in here at the end of my finger. Comes up at a 45-degree angle. I don't know whether you can see that in there, but just in there, that's the next fixing to come out. Okay, so I've just removed the 45-degree angle bolt here that's holding it in. Now we've got one that's exactly the same, but on the opposite side, just under there. Yeah, so again, 45 degrees on the opposite side, right next to the center console. That's the next one to be removed there. Okay guys, so we've removed the screw from the side and the 2 screws from the bottom on this panel. So it's now ready to come out. There isn't an upper screw on the console side. There's only an upper screw on the outside. One important thing to note is when you pull this off, there is actually one electrical connection connected to the back of it, and that's for the OBD, which is your diagnostic socket, which is the diagnostic socket located at the back here, which I'll show you when I drop this down. So when you drop it down, try and drop it down quite gently. You don't want to be, ripping the wires or the attachments on the back of that plug. So what we're going to do, let's give it a bit of a wobble. You see it unpops here on this side. It's going to do exactly the same on the other side as well. Like so. And then the whole thing drops down. And this is the connection just here that I was telling you about, which is your OBD, your diagnostic. It does just push out. You see this little catch on here, it wasn't quite snapped in. Normally you've got to pull that in and pull it out. That's your diagnostic socket there, so be careful that you're not putting any undue strain on that. And also, I did forget about this, you can see at the back there is the connection for the footlight, just there. That's what illuminates the footwell when you get into the car. So just wobble that side to side. And pop that off like so. And then this whole unit is free to be removed from the car. So the first thing to point out for removing this section of top trim right here is actually very difficult to kind of get a purchase on it. There's not a lot holding in, there's just a clip on either side and the whole thing just pulls straight forward. However, it doesn't matter how you kind of do it, it's really hard to kind of get enough purchase on it to be able to pull this out. And what you don't want to do is get a hook tool and try feeding it down the back and pulling it out, because then you're likely to scratch or chip the decorative trim here. So although it's a bit of a pain, the way that I recommend doing it is actually to remove, as you can see I've done here, the lower half of the dashboard trim that sits around the bottom of the steering wheel here. So without the lower dash panel removed, you've got access to come up behind it, and you actually be able to feel, if you come in behind it, you can feel I'm pushing it there, and the whole thing just pops off, as simple as that. You can see that side's actually been removed. All I did is reach up the back and pushed it, the whole thing pops off, and that'll give you the purchase you need to work the same thing across to the opposite side. And what I did there is, rather than keep pulling it, because if you keep pulling it you end up putting a lot of stress on this catch here. So what I did, rather than keep pulling it and using it as a big lever, I got it out so far, and I used my finger as a lever and pushed it against my finger to pop that side out. So that's by far the easiest and least evasive way of removing this without causing any damage to any of your trims. Okay, so once we've removed the top trim from above the controls here, you also need to remove your stereo, or in this case the Sat Nav system, to give you full access, because there's like plastic lugs on the bottom of these, and they don't come out past the top edge of your Sat Nav whilst it's in situ. So you will need to remove your stereo unit as well. So taking a quick look at the tools that you need. These are the tools that are required to remove pretty much all Audi stereos of this age. As you can see, it's flat on one side, curved on the other. If you type into eBay Audi stereo removal tools, you'll be able to find a cheap set of these very, very easily. Now, as you can see, I've got 4 here. Some of the cheaper kits on eBay, they only contain 2, so make sure if you are buying some kind of multi-kit or something like that, specifically to do your Audi stereo or Sat Nav, make sure your kit comes with 4, because you'll never get this out with 2. You must have 4. Okay, so we have our 4 tools here, and I'll show you where the 4 slots are located that these are going to fit into. There's one right here between the radio and CD buttons. You can see it just there. The other one is here just below the volume control. The third one is at the top here, just in between the fast forward and skip backward and forward buttons. And then the fourth one you can't actually see. You've got to use a little bit of common sense. It's actually around the same position, hidden across the top edge of the screen. So I'll show you the correct way to insert the tools into these 4 gaps, and then the whole thing should come out relatively easily. So to install these tools, as you can see, mine are actually marked left and right. Not all of them are. The important thing that you must remember when you're putting these tools in is the flat edge is always to the outside of the unit. The curved edge should always be facing the center of the unit. Okay, so what we're going to do is feed the first one in. And what you want to do is feed it in nice and gently, and make sure it goes in smoothly, and listen for the click. There, that's perfect. And just repeat that again. Curved edge to the center of the unit. And you want to feel that it goes in smoothly. If it doesn't, then you may have this may have been removed and refitted badly, and some of the connections bent. That's fine. So don't force it in. If it doesn't feel right, pull it out and put it in again. Now the hidden one that you can't quite see, you can kind of get an idea of where it should be. You can line it up with the bottom one. Remember, curved edge in towards the center, so we know it should be somewhere around there. There it is. So all 4 are in, so we're ready to remove this unit. Now, one thing to do before you actually remove the unit is to protect your gear knob, because what often happens is, you see, this kind of happened to this one, I guess, maybe through removal of the stereo, I'm not sure, but the bottom of these units tends to be quite rough. You know, it's kind of a machined aluminium, and if you bring it out, you have to disconnect the wires, and so you end up leaning it, sitting the unit on top of the gear knob. And of course, in this S4 here, this is all made of nice leather, and you really don't want to ruin this. So what I'm going to do, this is an automatic. If you've got a manual, just move it down to 4th with the engine off. Now to remove the automatic, obviously the lock's on, but if you turn the key without switching the engine on, turn the key to position 2 just to get the ignition on, you'll be able to move this out of the way. It gives you as much room as possible. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a cloth over the top of that to protect it, and now I'll remove the unit. The key to removing the unit, sometimes it can be a little bit sticky. The key to doing it is kind of pulling on opposite sides evenly. What I tend to do is go diagonals to start with. Now what you may find is that one of these doesn't lock in as it should and keeps popping out. If that's the case, then obviously try using the opposite too. They can be in quite tight, such as this one here. You've just kind of got to get a bit of a feel for it. There it is. Just wiggle it side to side, and the whole unit will start to come. And there we go. We've got access to the rear. So I'll show you how to disconnect these plugs next. So we've got 4 connectors on the rear here to disconnect. We'll start with the first. Start with this blue Facra connector here. It's got a little latch on the top of it. 1, Okay, to remove this this one here, you can see it's got this this arm which needs to lift up. Once you lift this up, it'll actually push the whole plug out. But you can see in the middle of it there, it's got a little latch to stop it lifting up. So I'll push that down, lift the whole thing up, and the whole thing will pop out. So that's two. Next, I'm going to remove this one down here. I don't know whether you can see it from there. It's actually got a little latch on it just there. You can hear it clicking. I'll just swap hands, press that, pull the whole thing out like so. And for the final connector, the main one here, again we've got one of these lever arms that'll push the connector out. But if you don't know whether you can see it there, it's got the lever arm, and just on the inside of it, it's got a little little catch there. If you push that catch down, that'll allow you to move the whole arm up. Just careful as you do this. Comes out and the unit's completely free. So I'm just going to show you very quickly how the mechanism works. If you do get one that's kind of bent or a little bit hard to get the tool into, if you understand how it works, it does make it a little bit easier. Now on the side here, I'll just turn this around so you can see it a little bit better. You've actually, on each corner, you've got these little tabs, and you see I can push these in. That's what kind of locks it into to place when you push it into the center console. Okay, so if I remove this a second, for you can see how that springs out, and so the center console, when you slide this in, the center console snaps in behind here, and that's what stops it pulling it out. Now when you push the tool in, if you watch from the top, when we push the tool in, it pushes this whole thing inwards like so, so that allows you to slide it out of the center console, and this little pin right in the center here snaps onto the inside of the tool, and that's obviously what allows you to pull it. Okay, so to release release the 4 tools when you finish, just press in hard on these and pull them out like so. But that's how it works. Now, one thing to bear in mind when you're talking about the card tray here and or the ESP button here, these two, very often on models like the S4, in this case here, they're actually built in together into the same unit, so you can't have one without the other. So to remove either of these, you're going to kind of remove both in one. So I'll show you how to do this now. So to remove this this section here, if you kind of look in closely in here, you can see this black plastic casing starts here and goes all the way across right to the other side here. Okay, so the ESP and the coin tray, like I said before, are not separate units. Now to remove these, there's 2 plastic tags that are going to stop us removing it by sliding it towards us, which are compression tags. The first one is down in this square hole down in here. You may not be able to see it on the camera, but there is like a plastic lug that needs to be pushed down, and the same in this this hole right in here. So those are the 2 that you need to do. So I'm going to have a quick look at doing this now. Just going to move this out, so I've got something to gently pull on. What you want to do is compress the tab here and wiggle it towards you just enough so it just starts to pop out, and then go across to the other side, push the plastic lug down just enough, just side to side like so. Eventually the whole thing will be ready to come out. Now once you've pulled it out a little way, you'll be able to access the connector on the rear of the ESP. This doesn't come out as far as you need it to, so you have to remove it at this kind of stage. So hopefully you can see that from there. It's just a standard type of connector. Like so. And there is one more connector on the back here. As you can see, the whole unit is out now. Just carefully remove this connector here, like so. And both the ESP and the coin tray come out in one. Now if you need to separate the ESP from the coin tray, you can just literally put your hand on the back and force it out. It does need a little bit of strength. Unfortunately, you can't pull it out from the front like you can with, say, a hazard warning switch, because it is actually quite stuck in there quite hard. So give it a good push from the back, and there's the ESP button removed also.